Hi, listeners. Welcome to the She Speaks Life podcast, a weekly encouragement where we share our God stories. I'm your host, Jayme Elizabeth, and I am so glad you are spending time with us today to listen. Hi, everyone. Welcome to She Speaks Life. I have a special guest today. I'm super excited. She's not just a guest, but she is my awesome sister. And she has a great God story to share with us about patient waiting in total surrender. And how do we wait for that thing that we have so much hope and desire? It's just not coming in the right time for us. So I just want to introduce to you my sister, Tricia Moore. So Trish, hi.
Hi, Jayme. First of all, I'm so excited to be here to, talk about my testimony. I have been with Jeff, my husband, for 10 years. We have 4 beautiful children. Grace, who's going on 8, and then Maverick, who's almost 7, Tanner, who is 3, and Bodie, who is almost 11 months. We live in San Clemente, California. We're busy with kids, and we just feel so blessed because it did take us quite some time to get pregnant, believe it or not, having 4 children now.
Yeah, so share with us that situation. What did you do when you first had the news that there was an issue?
So when we got married pretty young and wanted to have children pretty soon. So we started trying. I wasn't getting pregnant. And after a year and a half of not being successful, we decided to go see a fertility specialist. He basically told me that I have something called PCOS, which is very common amongst a lot of women. It's a hormonal imbalance. And it's a wide range of a lot of factors, but it was definitely crushing because a lot of women with PCOS have a really hard time getting pregnant. And we were, scared at the time because we knew we wanted a family. And we just started researching different things that we could do on the medical side to help with my PCOS and being able to get pregnant. So at the time, everyone's like, fertility, oh, for sure, you're going to get pregnant as soon as you start that.
Yeah.
We were excited. I researched different fertility specialists. I started actually reading my Bible again and praying. And it was all about hope, everything that I kept coming across. And it was just crazy that I have hope and patience, everything. It was just a common theme about all the devotionals that I was having and everything. And I came across a great fertility place, and it was called Hope Fertility.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And I started reading the reviews, and it ended up that the doctor was Christian. And I just felt really led to go see him because I had seen a couple other specialists who kind of wrote me off saying, oh, you're just, you're too young. You have plenty of time to get pregnant.
Yeah, no big deal. Yeah.
No deal. But so as soon as I went and saw this doctor at Hope Fertility, he sat with me for 2 hours, went over all these tests, and he was the one that actually came up with the conclusion that I had the PCOS. And he said, it's basically going to be difficult for you to get pregnant, so let's see what we can do. So I ended up getting on the fertility treatment, and I thought we would be pregnant quickly because it's medical. So, of course,
Sure.
You should get pregnant right away.
Right.
But as time went on, it was month to month, and we were not getting pregnant. It was extremely frustrating because I feel like I'm such an instant gratification personality. I ended up getting really frustrated with my husband as well. It was not, intimacy was not fun anymore because it was work.
Yeah.
And he was, just as frustrated as I was. And it was just a really dark time, I think, even for our marriage.
Sure.
At that time, I was looking to God in every aspect. I really got involved in like Bible studies and just kind of asking like, why is this my path right now? And
Yeah.
I remember like just sitting in church with worship, getting teary-eyed, envisioning, am I going to have a child at this time next year? Or am I never? Maybe a different route, maybe adoption. I mean, so many different things were running through my mind at that time.
Right.
But all we could do is just rely on each other and rely on that everything was in God's timing, even though it wasn't happening right at that time that we wanted it to.
Yeah, and I find that when we don't get what we are asking for, we do start questioning God. And it's okay to ask God questions like that. I think some people may feel guilty or shameful even asking God, why, or you're not responding quick enough. Like, He can handle it, and He wants us to be able to come to Him with all our frustrations, with all our pain. And so I just love that you're bringing Him questions, why me? Because I think that is a normal question we ask ourselves when we're going through the dark times. So is there a time or a real pivotal turn that you feel like you had this revelation from God, or was it just a gradual process?
Well, I think at the time I did not feel it as much. I was in His Word, but when I look back, He was teaching me so many different things that is applying to every aspect of being a parent, like patience, not getting what you want. Looking back, I actually ended up writing down my prayers because I thought for sure, one day I would have a child, whether it would be my biological or adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to keep like a journal. I remember just looking at it when we moved. I had written down so many different Bible stories, verses, and I was just in awe of seeing how deep I was at that time and how intimate, and all my trust was with God. And I knew that He would see me through it. It did make me spiritually grow, and being able to apply all that stuff now. I mean, parenting is so hard, and going through all that makes me even appreciate more my babies and how blessed and what a sacred gift they are from God, and that He chose us to be their parents.
Yeah.
So in the moment, it was really difficult to see where God was trying to teach anything to me, but I just knew that I had to trust, be patient, and have hope, and all the underlying themes that I kept seeing.
Yeah, totally unfolding. That is so good. I love how God prepares us today for our tomorrow, and how we don't always see that until it's further down the road. And then we can look back and go, wow, God, I could see your footprints. I can see your handprints throughout those years or that season in the waiting, or, just preparing me to that next step, that next desire, the dream, the calling, whatever it is that you're waiting upon. I just love that you were leaning into Him and trusting in Him, even though you weren't seeing anything yet in your natural eyes. So how long did it take you to get pregnant with your first baby?
So, we went through some trials. It was sad because I did end up having a miscarriage before we had our first baby. So that was a huge setback.
For sure.
And it was hard. But at the time, I kind of had this weird peace about it at the same time. It was kind of almost like a relief that, okay, wow, I was able to get pregnant. So at that point, it was a baby step for me to be like, I can get pregnant. There is a chance. I was kind of just gung-ho to keep going. And then it was frustrating, too, at the same time, because after that, we kept trying. And the hormones that they give you is just insane. And it was really, taxing on my body and mentally and spiritually at times. And so
yeah.
I remember right before I got pregnant with my daughter, Grace, we had done a couple different fertility sessions, and it's just so hard on your body, the hormones that they give you, and it's just taxing on your body as well as mentally, so physically and mentally. I remember praying on the way to work in the car, and just saying, you know, God, this is the last time that I'm going to do the fertility treatment. And then I'm going to take a break, because I was thinking, this is so much for me. This, just having this hormonal ups and down, weight fluctuations, and just feeling so tired. Mm-hmm. And the doctor had told me the next step, because I was not getting pregnant, was in vitro. I just was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I was already so tired from the medication called Clomid, and then an IUI, which is artificial insemination, when I ovulated. Mm-hmm. I just did not want to go the IVF route. So on the way to work, I'm praying, and I said, God, if you want me to get pregnant, please have it happen now, or that's my sign from you that I need to take a break, and we'll see if I need to do IVF down the road.
Yeah.
So I took the medication knowing that that was going to be my last time. I got a phone call from the doctor, and the doctor said that I was pregnant. And I was like in tears. I'm like, this was going to be like the last time that I was going to do it. And it was right at the cut off. Like, I never had felt that way before.
So you were in the car praying, and then from that time praying in the car to when your doctor phoned you, is that the same day, or was it the next day?
The next day, maybe. It was definitely within 48 hours.
Wow.
But I had just gone through it. I had just went into the doctor, had the insemination done, and I just was feeling crummy. I probably was pregnant, and that's probably even more. I felt crummy. I'm just like, oh, I can't do this again. And this doesn't work, then I don't know what to do. I'm just going to wait on God and see what He has in store for me.
Wow. So miracle. So you didn't just have one baby miracle.
We did not think, we could get pregnant. After going through everything that we did, we truly relied on God the whole time. We just were like, hey, whatever happens, happens at this point. God has blessed us. And I remember being so in touch with God during even my labor with Grace. Every minute I was praying to Him, get me through this part and that part. And He just kept carrying me through every portion of the labor until we saw her beautiful face, and we just were in awe of God's creation. And so we just were like, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, your faith was increased, right? Like once God comes through for us, you're just boosted up, and you're like, oh wow, God, you are faithful. Thank you. So now you're just resting and just thinking, okay, what happens, happens.
And we just saw how relying on God through things will bless us at some point. We found out we were pregnant again with number 2. I think Grace was only 4 months old.
Oh my gosh. So you can still get pregnant nursing, ladies. When you're breastfeeding, you can still get pregnant.
You sure can. I know. So we were shocked, but it was such a joyous announcement. Most people would be like, oh my goodness, I'm pregnant, and might be in tears because it was such a difficult first few months with your infant. But knowing everything that we had gone through, I was so excited actually, and being like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, maybe I'm just meant to have 2 kids, and this is my second, and I'm so happy. And so Grace was only 4 months old. I had her holding the fertility urine stick to find out you're pregnant. And Jeff had gotten home from work, and I had her waving it around. And he's like, what? Why is she holding a thermometer? And I'm like, well, look at it. He's like, oh my gosh, well, that was easy. Like, that was his first response. So we were just ecstatic. We were blessed with a sweet boy, Maverick. From then on out, we just knew that God was in control, and everything happens in His timing for sure. It was very difficult to have 2 young ones that close in age. But I think going through everything that we had gone through and relying on God, it made us get through that as a team, because it tested our marriage as well. It made us be a stronger team together to be good parents. So it was definitely an amazing experience, but we're still reaping the benefits of it all now, practicing everything that God was teaching us.
Yeah, so precious niece and nephews. You've got Grace, Mav, and then you've got more.
We just kept having them.
Yeah.
Our cup is full at that time. It was a lot of work. I mean, being a parent of any number of children. So we waited and took precaution. As time went on, we were like, we love our 2 kids and we want to bring another sibling into this world. And if it's in God's plan, then we'll see if we can get pregnant again with another child. So I think it was only within like 2 months of actually trying, we got pregnant with our 3rd son, Tanner.
Yay!
And he brought so much joy, but he was also a very difficult sleeper for the first couple of years because he was not the easiest baby. He hated being buckled. He hated car seats, everything. But he has such a big personality and is so fun. I love having him at home with me, and he's so joyful to be around. He brings so much laughter to our family. Because he was not the best sleeper, we were like, we are so done. Like,
yeah, this is it.
God, thanks for, blessing us and everything we went through. It's like above and beyond, you've given us so many blessings, but God, we're done now. Maxed out.
Yeah, you've given me enough to handle. Thank you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So we were like, I'm done. By a surprise, I found out I was pregnant with number 4 when Tanner was 2. That was a different emotion than I had felt with the other 3. We were not planning on it, and we thought we were done. At that time, I felt overwhelmed. Again, that was just teaching us that it's all God's plan.
Yeah.
So
God's plan, and that He qualifies us.
It's so true. So I was so nervous, though, that we were going to have another infant that was not sleeping and difficult because I was so exhausted. And so when our 4th boy, Bodie, came along, he was an amazing blessing. He has been by far the easiest, happy-go-lucky baby you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, he has. He is just the most, talk about patience. That boy can sit there during dates. I'll get to see it on Instagram. You zoom in on little Bodie, he just sits there in his little seat and is just happy-go-lucky.
He is, and it was so great because I feel like you kind of remember the most looking back at babies, probably the last one that you had, and everyone's always like, are you done now with number 4? Because everyone thinks it's insane that we have 4 kids, but I'm always like, yeah, I feel like I'm done, and I feel like because he's such a good baby, I always want to look back at happy feelings. It just shows you that we had no idea that we were going to have a 4th. And so with each pregnancy, there was something different to be learned that God was teaching us, that we just have to sit back and rely on God at times. Because I relied on him on so many different levels with each kid. It was fertility with Grace. It was having 2 kids almost under the age of 1 with Maverick. There's Tanner, who was a difficult sleeper for the whole first year and a half of his life. And then there was number 4, Bodie, who is, oh my goodness, how am I going to handle more?
So we just found out that my sister and I share the same life verse.
I came across this cross, and it said hope on the cross. And then it had the verse, Romans 15:13, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. I was just sharing with Jayme, like that was what my verse that I just kept staring at. I had the cross hanging up in my room.
For me, it was never, trying to get pregnant, but we went through major financial hardship. So that was my life verse, just to hang on with hope and trust in Him with our finances. And you, Trish, the, waiting patiently and just surrendering, trusting God to give you a baby, and not only one, but 4. And they're so precious. I mean, they really are the treasured gifts from above. And I'm just so excited that you were able to come on here between naps and share your testimony, your God story with us.
My takeaways are just trust. I mean, just like the verse was saying, trust in Him and you will be filled with joy and peace. And just dive into His word. That would be another takeaway. I mean, everyone has these I'm feeling this today. I'm feeling on fire. The Holy Spirit's in me at this moment. And that's all great and wonderful. But when you are going through something truly difficult, you're not going to just be feeling it every day. You really have to put yourself in the word. And He is talking through the Bible. He's talking to you. For me, it was definitely join a women's Bible study because, there was accountability.
Yeah, being intentional, right, with your time with God and using all the resources that He gives us. He gives us, His word, which is alive and active, sharper than a two-edged sword. Really, the Word of God is full of His promises. So that's exactly what we're doing, is looking and reading and meditating and pouring into all His promises of the Bible. So
one other takeaway would be to find a doctor that is a Christian. I mean, not everyone really talks about that, but I think looking back, it was so important to have someone that had my back. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm sure the listeners enjoyed everything that you said, making a huge impact. Thank you, Trish.
Aw, thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, love you.
Love you, sis. In Tricia's story, she shares about trusting God in the waiting and how we sometimes question God with His timing. Her encouragement of diving into the Word to receive peace and writing verses and prayers in a journal to help her get through was so encouraging for all of us. If you find yourself in the season of waiting, know God is preparing for something so great. And in that preparation, we grow. And as we press into His Word and write down our prayers, we will look back and see His provision all along the way. Thank you so much for listening today. I trust that God has encouraged you through this message. For more information on this ministry and to access free downloads, please visit my website at jaymeelizabeth.com and sign up. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Jayme Elizabeth She Speaks Life. That's Jayme Elizabeth She Speaks Life. Until next time, my friends, I pray God reveals Himself through your own life story.